Hello everyone, ChartSync here, and today I want to just go over the real basics of how to use TradingView. That way you can follow along with the videos and you can start doing this stuff for yourself. So when you first open up TradingView, you go to tradingview.com. It might not look dark like this if you, first things first, because I know it's probably blinding to a lot of you. If you go up here in the top left, this is like your, kind of like your profile settings. And if you click on that, if you go down here to dark theme, jeez. Anyways, yeah, hit that right there, put it on dark theme. Do yourself a favor. And to make this disappear, you got to click on this again. So I know this might look like a lot, it might seem overwhelming, but we're going to go over just like the stuff you really want to pay attention to and just, how to move around. So when you hover your mouse around, it has like this crosshair thing, so that way you could, and the reason why you have this is this vertical line. If you look towards the bottom of your screen, the vertical line represents the date. So any of these candles, and we'll talk about candles and wicks in just a second, but anytime you hover over any of these candles, the vertical line will lead you to the date of that candle. So this is if you look up here, it says D, that means 1 day. That means it's a daily candle. And we'll talk about the candles. Right now, I just want to go over this crosshair thing. And then this horizontal line right here, if you look all the way over to your right, their little box will show you the price. So if I go to the top of, let's go to this big red candle right here. If I go to the top of this big red candle and green candle, we could see that that was Monday, March 3rd. If you look at that little gray box on the bottom, and if you look to the right, the price was $94,312. So that's what the crosshair does. It's just a way to orient you on what the price and the day, or the price and the time frame. So the price is over here on the right. The time frame setting that you're looking at is up here, and you can change this. And then the date, or the correlating time frame for what you have up here, will appear down here. So real quickly, I just want to talk about candles. So I'm going to make these real, my drawing tool enabled. So there we go. So make this nice and big. So what is a candle? What is a wick? Well, it should be pretty obvious. You have a candle is the big box, right? Just make this real huge so it's real obvious. This is the candle. It's the big square. And then the wick are these little lines that come down beneath and above it. So what do these represent? So when you see a green candle, right? So when we say open and close, that means what the price was when this time frame started. So since we're on the daily, it's easy to get this concept if we just use the daily. That means at the very start of the day, price opened, meaning this is where the price was when the day started, at the bottom of the candle. This is where the candle closed at the end of the day. So this is where price was at the end of the day. Now, if I bring your attention over to the right, as I hover around the bottom of this candle, if you look at the right, the price on Sunday, March 2nd, right, was $86,012. You could see that over there on the right. And then it closed up here at the top of the right? That means right when the day ended, the price was $94,247. And that's why the candle is green, because the closing price was higher than the opening price, meaning that the price went up. So the inverse is true for a red candle. When you see a red candle, it's the top that's the open, right? And it's the bottom that's the close, right? So when you see a red candle, it's the opposite. That means price went down. Price went down for the day. That means when the day ended, the price was lower than when the day started. It's very simple. Now you might be asking yourself, what are these wicks? Okay, so these little lines right here, we call those wicks. And what the wicks represent are the highest and lowest point that price went that day. So yeah, if we look at this green candle again, price opened right here. It started at this low price, but throughout that 24-hour period, it actually went as low as, let's see, $85,123. That means at one point in time throughout the day, it went all the way down here. And then at one point in time throughout the day, it went all the way up to $95,175. So that's what the wicks represent. They represent the lowest and the highest prices that that asset went to in that time frame. So just remember that the candles represent an open and a close. So when you have a green candle, the opening is at the bottom, right? And then when you have a red candle, the opening is at the top, meaning that price opened up here and then came all the way down here. And again, just the green candles, open is at the bottom, close is at the top. For red candles, the open is at the top and the close is at the bottom. So if you think of it like this, I don't know why my tool is acting weird here. Yeah, I'll figure that out later. So price opened down here, right? It closed up here, and then as the next day started, this is where obviously where price opened. That's why you'll see these candles kind of like they open and close in roughly the same position because it's just transitioning from one day to another. There are sometimes gaps, and we'll go over those later, but those usually happen on like Sundays and stuff like that. So anyways, that's the real basics of candles. The body of the candle is the open and closing price. If the candle is green, that means it closed higher than when it opened. If it's red, that means it closed lower than when it opened. Let's zoom out a little bit. So there's candles and wicks everywhere. Ugh. Sorry again, this drawing tool. I do this all the time. Anyways, so that's what the candles and wicks mean. So now hopefully we have a good understanding of what the candles and the wicks are. So in TradingView, what you could do is you could change the time frame. So if you come up here, see I'm hovering my mouse above here, it's the 1 day. So we have all these options. Now, some of these you need a paid version of TradingView, so I'm not going to use, especially like the real small, like short second time frames. I'm pretty sure you need a paid version for that. I'm only using the free version of all the TradingView stuff because I want everybody to follow along and learn. So, we can go from 1 day to 1 month if we want. So this is 1 month. See, so this was the bull run back in 2020, 2021. If everybody remembers, this was a double top pattern before the big dumpola. And then, so these are all monthly candles, meaning that, so if we look right here, for example, on the bottom, it says Friday, November 2024. So this was the candle for November of 2024, meaning at the beginning of the month, right here, the bottom of the candle, the price was $70,308. And then when the month ended, it was at $96,426. So it went up. That means it went up almost $20,000. It opened at 70, closed at 96. It's a $26,000 climb. It's one of the, if not the biggest green candle in Bitcoin's history. So pretty cool. And then the same thing, if we look over here, February, price opened at, let's see, God, it was all the way up here at 102,000. And then it closed at the end of February at 84,000. So, I mean, it dropped $18,000. And again, these wicks were just as the highest and lowest it went. So in February, I mean, the price did go as low as 78,000 within the month of February, but it did close at 84,000. So those are the candles and the wicks. And then we can go over here, we can go down to, let's do like a 4 hour. See, this is more granular. So the smaller the time frame, the more granular it is, the more, let's just say like higher resolution. You're still looking at the same price action, right? It's just a higher resolution. There's more detail. You could see more of like what really happened in those smaller time frames, like where price visited and stuff like that. So those are the time frames. If you ever want to draw lines, you can use the brush tool, which is fine. You can kind of just scribble and dabble. And if you hold down Control and hit Z, it'll undo it. If you're on a Mac, you probably use Command or something like that. You have to forgive me. I don't have any experience with Apple or Mac. I have only used computers. So I'm not too sure, but I think the key is it's a Command key. So you can use the brush, and then if you click that little arrow right here, you have different So like if you want a bigger line, you could do this. And anytime you draw a line, this little box appears and you can edit the line. Like you can make it thicker, you can make it tinier, you can make it a different color. Also the opacity, which means like how, you know, see-through it is essentially, right? If you turn this all the way up, that means you can't see through it at all. If you kind of want to still be able to see the price action behind these lines you're drawing, you want to turn the opacity down so you can see these things, right? I'll throw that away. Control Z to undo all this stuff. Okay, I got it. I don't want to see your messages anymore, bro. Why are you doing this to me? So there's other, so if also, again, let's just click over here. So like there's also shapes you can draw. So if you just like, now that I have the arrow marker selected, I press and hold down left click on my mouse and I drag it and it'll draw this big arrow. And then I click again and then it'll, you know, put that arrow wherever I leave it. So let's say I want to draw a line going from here up to here, or draw this big ridiculous arrow. If you ever want to do that for some reason, you press and or click and hold left click. Oops. Let me get the tool going again. Right, click and hold. And you can like, you don't have to click and hold. You just left click once, move your mouse around, and when you find the spot you want the arrow to be, you left click again, and there it is. If you want to throw it away, you could throw it away. You could add text to it. You know what I mean? You could just, you know what I mean? See, there's text. You can do all that. And see if I bring your attention over here to the right, there's this little area right here that'll open up automatically. And when you first open up TradingView, it'll look like this. So these are the, you know, assets that you have on a watch list. So if you favorite them over here, like for example, if let's just favorite Bitcoin. So I want to make sure I'm using Bitstamp because they've been recording the prices, I think, longer than any other exchange. If you look over here, just to the left, there's this little bookmark thing. You can change the color of it. You know what I mean? Hey, 30-day free trial. Let's go back over here. So I bookmarked it. And what that means is that it's going to appear over here now. There's already a bunch here. So yeah, there it is at the bottom. Unfortunately, we have all these other ones here. So see how I'm hovering over it? There's this trash can here. If you want to clean up this area, you just keep clicking away until you get it. See, I don't buy Apple. I don't buy Tesla. I don't buy Netflix. I don't buy stocks. I'm here to make money and get rich. I don't want these stock stuff, right? That stuff takes too long. They brag about 20% profits annually. That's, I like riskier assets like crypto. So here we are with crypto. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all these so I have just Bitcoin. So this is your alerts thing. So if you ever set alerts, I'm not going to go into that right now. It's pretty straightforward. But down here, object tree and data window, when you click on that, it has a list of every line and everything you've drawn is going to appear there, right? So let me click on this brush tool again. Let me put on highlighter and draw something ridiculous here. See, and it looks really messy. This isn't like, you know, this isn't going to help you scribbling all over it. I'm just giving you an examples here. So every time you draw a line, it'll appear if you have this selected, right? You could enable it or disable it. Like if you want more room on the price chart, you could just click on the same one that you have active and it'll just disappear altogether. But you can also figure out which, so like if I want to get rid of these arrows, I just hit the trash can button, and then I only have my scribbles because that's all I want, right? All right, so I'm going to get rid of all these. That's the object tree in the data window. And again, like if you want to look at a different asset, so like let's go over here. Let's say, let's do ADA, which is Cardano. Let's look at, Coinbase is a known exchange. Bybit is where they also have perpetual contracts. We'll get into this later. Like if you're doing leverage trading, highly risky. Don't recommend doing that unless you really know what you're doing because you will lose your money. But perpetual contracts are different than the actual asset, but you're still trading the asset based on its current price. So let's just do Bybit. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to bookmark it. That way, every time I open up TradingView, I'm not going to have to search for it. I can just go over here once again, top right, to my watch list, right? And it's not there. That's interesting. How come it's not there? Well, select data again. There we go. Get rid of the indices, the Forex, crypto, object tree. Interesting. So we can go to Bitcoin. Wow. Okay, this is embarrassing. Let's try something else. Let's just try ADA again. Let's just do, what is it, Coinbase, and let's bookmark Coinbase, and let's, you know what, let's make this a different color because that's fun. Let's make it like this color. It's, no, I don't want your trial. If you guys want a free trial, go ahead. But so let's go to ADA. Right. And let's see. Oh, there we go. Add symbol. So you go up here, add symbol, and select Coinbase, and then it appears. So that's how you do that. You have to forgive me. Sorry about that. So if you want it to appear here, you can't just search it up here. If you search it up here, you'll bookmark it just fine, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to appear over here. So I have a paid version. I imagine maybe that's one of the differences in the paid version, because I haven't used this free version in years. So then anyway, so if you ever want to add more, you just add a symbol, and let's see, what else do you want? XRP. Let's see, let's choose Bitstamp. That's another decent one. I'm not going to bookmark it this time, and I'm just going to select it, and it appears over there. That way, so it's not bookmarked. So if you want, you could bookmark it right here. So these are two different things, apparently. And there you go. Another thing you might want to do, let me disable this. If you ever have, like, you're trying to move the chart and you end up drawing and then you have to undo it. Whenever it's highlighted blue, that means it's enabled. If you hit your escape key, see, it'll go out of that. See how it's blue? I hit escape. Now it's not going to draw anymore. Another thing I would like to bring your attention to is you have these little dots right here. If you want to keep these, that's fine. These are economic events. I don't particularly care for those. So if you right click anywhere on your chart, you go down to settings, and let's see, where is it? Status line, no. Scales and lines, I don't think it's here. Canvas, trading. Let's see, there is, oh, events, duh. Economic events. So if you go down here to the bottom, economic events, just disable it. And I don't want the latest news either. I can get that elsewhere. I don't want it on my chart. See, now I don't have all that stuff right here. Now my chart is a lot cleaner. If you want to come down here to the bottom underneath your underneath these price lines or date lines here. Down here, you could see, like, if you want to do the all-time, if you want the chart for all-time to appear, so it's going to show, it's showing the monthly candles for Cardano for, you know, all-time for this exchange. So Coinbase has only been holding Cardano or supporting Cardano since March of 2021, and this is the entire price history. So if you click all, if you want just a 1 year history, it'll just show the 1 year history. If, you know, and so on and so on. So let's go back to Bitcoin. That's on the 1 minute for some reason. Let's just change that back to the daily and expand that a little bit. You can change the prices of your colors and wicks too. I do this. You don't have to do this. But again, if you right click anywhere in your chart, you go to settings, symbols. This is where you could change the colors. So typically what I do is I use a color like this. Is it this one that I use, or is it this one? I can't remember. I've had it the same on my chart for so long. And then I usually get this like a purplish color. And then I do the same thing down here. So it's like, this is the border that goes around the candle. Because sometimes some people, if you could see this, it's like there's still a red border around the candle. So I like to have my borders and my candles match. I don't need all that extra stuff. So change this here, change this here. And you can make this whatever color you want. Me, I like this. It's more pleasing. It doesn't hurt my eyes that much. If you stare at charts for a long time, I think you'll come to appreciate having a different color setup than just a bold red and a bold green just staring at you, just the most unpleasant of Christmas colors. So, and also this looks really cool, if you ask me. It looks more sci-fi. Reminds me of Halo or something. So that's that. And then over here, you have a bunch of other tools over here on the side. I'll go over these later in another video. Like you can add emojis to your chart if you want. I don't do that. Trying to be a serious person here. And up here, so you could change the kind of candles. I just use regular ones. You could go with hollow candles. Some people prefer that. I don't particularly care for that. And you'd have to change the color of those too. If you ever want to set an alert, it's the Alt key plus A, and that'll set an alert for wherever you have this hovering. So like if price were to hit $90,000, you could set an alert so that your phone or your computer will give you a notification saying, hey, the Bitcoin price is hitting $90,000. Here's, and you wanted to be reminded of that. So there it is. This little tool right here, it looks like a magnet. What that does is let's start up here at this line. Trend line, what this does is it'll draw a perfectly straight line for you, right? There's all kinds of lines you can draw. I don't want to go into all these in detail, but you can play around with them if you want. Just do the real basic trend line, right? It's Alt plus T, right? And you can bookmark it if you want, add it to your favorites. So I'm going to select this, right? And what this does is anywhere I left click once and then I drag my mouse and then I can move this and it'll draw a perfect line, right? So if I want to draw it just, for no reason at all, and then I want it to end right here, I left click again and then I have my line, right? So if you come down here to this magnet, what this does, this is really helpful. You click on this magnet, what it does is you could see how when I move, it locks to where the bottoms and the tops of the candles. So when I want to draw a line, you see how it's like, it's not moving as smoothly. It's because wherever my cursor is, it's going to either the top or the bottom of the candle. So if I want to draw a line from like, let's just say here, right? If I don't have that magnet thing on, I have to really I barely move my mouse in the right spot. But if I have the magnet tool on, I just go in the general area. And it's gonna start the beginning of that line right at the bottom of this candle or the wick, whichever one you have it. So like, see how it wicks down? See how it automatically just clicks down to this wick right here? And then if I move it up, it just goes right back up again. So if I want to click, bottom of this candle, left click once, and let's say I want to draw it down to here. See how it's like automatically just going to the bottoms of these candles? Boom. So then you have a perfect line that's actually hitting the precise level of these candles. So that's a very helpful tool if you want to draw some lines. You use your trend line, but if you have this enabled right here, this little magnet thing, it'll automatically set the starting and end points of your line to the opens and close of candles and wicks. So I'll remove that. This is a ruler. You could just measure stuff. It's pretty straightforward. And again, this is your brush tool. If you want to write text on your chart, I hardly ever do that. Actually, I don't ever do that. I do draw lines, but when I want to remind myself of the lines that I'm drawing, so like, let's just do that. Let's just trend line. Let's say I was, I wanted to draw, actually, let's do Alt H. So if I want to draw, see right here, this is a big resistance level. I talk about support and resistance in another video if you want to learn about that. So right here is an area of resistance. I want to mark that. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key and press H. H stands for horizontal. It's a horizontal line. Holding down the Alt key might be the Command key on a Mac. Holding down the Alt key and then pressing other keys is some keyboard shortcuts. So like Alt H is a horizontal line. So if for some reason I wanted to draw a vertical line, it would be hold down Alt and press V. See, now I got a vertical line. And what you could do is, let's just do Alt H again, right? Alt H, right? you can add text to it, and you can change the text color. So if I want the text color to be yellow, right, there's no text. Well, how do you add text? You have to go over here to this little settings icon, right? This little hex. Click on it. You have to check this box right here. The text won't show. So you could type, you can't type anything if you don't have this checked. So you check that. See, it's going to be yellow, and this is the font size. So if I want to make it, let's just make it really big to be ridiculous for this video. Make it bold, have it italic, and you know, I'm just going to write my name here, chart sync. Yay. And then I click the OK button. But I don't like where it's appearing. So it's right there in the middle. Whenever I draw my lines, if you come down here to these two boxes, so right now it's in the middle and the center. I don't like that. I want it right above the line. So I put it on the top, and then I want it all the way to the right. That way I could see the price action. And if I ever want to know what was this line for, I could look over there and there's the answer, right? And you click away anywhere on the chart, you exit the edit mode for the line that you drew. So let's say I just want to Command Z all this. Let's say I want to edit the line. Let's say I want this line to be thicker. Well, I click on it and this box appears again, and you can move this anywhere. I'll just leave it right there for now. And this pixel size adjusts the size of the line. So if you want to make it thicker, if you want to make it thinner, you put it on 1 pixel. You can actually change the style of a line. So if you want it dashed, a bunch of dashes, or if you want like a dotted line, you know, and then if that's too small as a dotted line, but you want it bigger, you want it something like that. So there's a lot you could do here. And then of course, this deletes it. So that's how you draw lines. Let's see, we covered the changing of the colors of the candles. We covered price, we covered time, we covered your object tree, and then your watch list. So, you know, and you can enable, disable that if you want. And then over here, anytime you draw a line, let's do another horizontal line and a vertical line. Let's do a vertical line there, vertical line there. See, anytime you add something, it appears as a component over here on the right. And you can actually just delete those from here as well. Volume is something that automatically appears, right? So this little icon with the line through it, that's this whether or not you want to see it. So these are volume metrics, right? They are important. This is an important indicator right here. We'll go over that in a future video, but this is how you can disable and enable seeing these things. Like if I want the price to disappear for some reason, which is very rare I ever want to do that, you can do that. You clicked up here, and this is the indicator list. I'm not going to go into any of these because there's tons of indicators out there. There's only a handful that I use. I'm going to go over those in other videos, but this is where you find all the indicators. You can find community made ones. You can find technicals. You can, if you start making your own with PineScript down here, which I can get into too. I know some PineScript and have made my own indicators, which I'll start giving away to you guys. We'll go over that later, but this is what they will appear. So strategies, profiles, patterns. I like to look at my own patterns. I don't really rely on those. Yeah. And then if you want, you could save your chart layout. So say, for example, you like these candle colors. If you close out TradingView right now and you don't save any of this, everything's going to go back to default. When you open up TradingView, it's going to be a bright white. It's not going to be in dark theme. You're not going to have these nice, candle colors that you set. So just make sure you come up here and you save it, right? So if you click save, enter a name for your chart. And then once you enter a name, that save button will, be active, and you can click it and save. And then you have a chart. And then over here is the same. So up here, the settings gear, this is the same settings menu if you just right click in the chart and click on settings down here, right? So those are the basics of TradingView. This video is already half an hour long. I just wanted to, for anybody that's really just completely brand new to trading and using TradingView, those are the real basics. You have your time frames up here, candles up here. I don't mess with that. The indicators will go along in another time. The alert replay is kind of cool when you're back testing. We'll use that later. You don't need to, if you're a beginner, I don't want to overcomplicate or overload you with information. So the important things is understanding what these candles and wicks are, right? Understanding that this is your object tree in your watch list. So, these are the coins that you want to watch. If you want to add new coins that to your watch list, you do it through here and this thing pops up. You type in the search what you want to add. And then anything that you add to your chart, you come down here to your object tree in your data window, and anything that you add to your chart, whether it be one of these lines or if you're just, scribbling on here, it'll all appear over there in the right. And then this is the time frame, and this is the asset that you're looking at. And then also one last thing, this is the data up here. So like whatever candle you were hovering over, if you look at the very top at this writing right here as I hover over these candles, so let me hover over this big one. O is the open price. H is the highest price it reached in that time frame. L is the lowest price that it reached. C was the closing price for that time frame. And that last number right there is the net negative or net positive price difference, or, from open to close. So this is a green candle, that number is positive. That means it went up $8,240 from open to close. If I go to this red candle, it went down $8,113 from open to close. Purple. So negative candle, think of these as green and red. I use, like I said, super light blue for green, and then I use like this purplish, whatever, indigo color for red. All right, I think that about does it. If you guys have any questions or comments or anything, please let me know and I'll respond to them. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that if you appreciate what I do and everything I've showed you today. Until next time, ChartSync out.